What's going on? It's Liam. This is the channel where I talk about stuff that I learn in life and hopefully it helps you. So today I'm talking about a few ways that you can actually seem more interesting to new people or people you don't know all that well. So when I was younger, like many kids, I had a hard time talking to new people, whether it was adults or kids my age. I remember specifically when my dad would take us to his friend's place. They would have kids my age and I would have to socialize with them. That was my worst nightmare by far. I hated meeting new people, and that problem only grew as I got older into the earlier years of high school before I kind of figured this out. But there's a few things that I've realized, mostly through being in direct sales and having to talk to random strangers all the time. Not only talk to them, but have to sell them stuff, which is terribly uncomfortable. Have I overcome that? And I'm just going to share today what I've found in the span of a few years in sales. So number one is a phrase that you can implement immediately to make you sound more interesting and get the other person talking. It's very simple. It's 3 words. Tell me more. So let's say you're in a conversation with an adult that you just met. Let's say it's a sales situation, but it doesn't have to be. And you meet the person, you do the classic, how you doing? My name's Liam. And then maybe you start with a question that is, what do you do for work? And then they say, oh, I'm in the military. And then you say, oh, okay. Again, another question. Questions are key. Okay, what do you do in the military? I fly jets. Oh my gosh, tell me more. Tell me more about that. Or in pretty much any situation, someone can say something and you can say, hold on, tell me more about that. And it's so open-ended and requires them to build off of what they allegedly want to talk about, ideally want to talk about. And it almost always leads to more conversation. So start using tell me more in conversations. Just experiment with it. See when it works, when it doesn't, and how it fits into your conversation style in situations that you're typically in. So number 1, tell me more. Number 2 is that you need to stop putting people on a pedestal. One of the big examples of this is when I went into this jiu-jitsu gym that I train at and have been training at for the past 2 years or so. I thought that jiu-jitsu was going to be serious, kind of like karate, where you got to go in, bow to your teacher, whatever, because they're a black belt. And that's what I expected. But when I went in there, the jiu-jitsu instructor treats everyone no matter what, even though he's a black belt and could, hurt these people. He treats them as equals. And so it creates a really comfortable environment for both parties involved when no one sees the other person higher. So even if you're in a very serious situation, the other party, if they sense that you're comfortable, they're going to be comfortable as well. Nobody likes awkward, uncomfortable situations and conversations. So if you can break that down by, yeah, sure, they may be accomplished in some specific endeavor, but they're humans. They wake up, they take a shit every day, they're imperfect. So you don't need to see them as super special, because inevitably, like when you're talking to a girl, you see them as super pretty. Yeah, you're going to be nervous. You're not going to speak comfortably. Comfort and authenticity is the basis of good communication. That's why when you speak with your friends, it's super easy to flow through a conversation because you're not worried about what the other person's thinking. And the mistake people make is when they go and talk to strangers, they somehow think this stranger is owed some sort of special communication style, when in actuality, it matters much less with these people. Yeah, sure, you can make impressions on people, and you can do all of this while being respectful. You don't have to treat people like shit. You treat people like friends. And it's especially weird when you treat a stranger like they're super special. That makes both people uncomfortable. So number 2, start treating people like they're your friend, and it's gonna feel like that. You want to have friendships. It doesn't need to be a transactional relationship all the time. Everyone should be your friend in some capacity, and it makes it way easier to speak to them. So that's number 2. Number 3 would be eye contact. So this is kind of a cliche and might be easy to understand, but if you can hold eye contact, and it's something you're gonna have to consciously do. So when you speak to a stranger, remember, oh shoot, I wanted to practice the eye contact right now. So just do it. Look them in the eyes and see how it feels for you, see how it feels for the other person. When you first start doing it, it's gonna be very uncomfortable. At least for me it was. But you can feel a sense of control in the conversation. Now, you don't want to just do it crazy where you're just staring into the person's eyes for the entire conversation and you look like a creep. It's a balance of looking away when you're in moments of thought, and also for the majority of the conversation, giving the person the eye contact that they deserve, because there's science behind it that I can't reference, but it states that there's a certain transfer of energy via eye contact that I think is somewhat underutilized by people today. So try that out. Just next time you're in a conversation, look the person in the eye like they deserve it, you know? And then lastly, what's going to help with your articulation and ability to think clearly is going to be reading. So if you're able to read in some capacity, whether it's just books you like, whether it's the news, just putting words through your brain and having to transmit words on a page, I feel like it gets the juices flowing. This is not scientific, although there may be some science to back it up. Reading is obviously going to expand your vocabulary, or it's just going to get your vocabulary juices flowing, you know? Just get juices flowing. That's all you got to do. So if you read a book and you get those gears turning, then when you go to talk to someone, one, yeah, you're going to be able to craft sentences more clearly, possibly use greater, more accurate vocabulary. But two, you might actually have something to talk about that pertains to the conversation. So you can go on and, I don't know, depends what you read about, but you can reference things that you've read about and usually teach it to other people, or you just become more interesting when you're consuming information. And the cherry on top is it's going to help you when you're speaking to other people. So I believe that was 4 things, but these have all helped me in the past few years. So if you feel like you're a nervous wreck when you're talking to people, start trying at least one of these things and see how it helps you. I mean, maybe combine all of them. I don't know. So my name's Liam. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you have an excellent day, and cheers to some awesome conversations. Peace.